Hello, welcome, good evening. We are going to review Residuals. Now, Residuals is one of the most mixed questions on the exam from last year. And unfortunately, we see from the review right here, if I transfer us over, we can see that Residuals is also the question, the most mixed question on the first try out of all the questions on the review. So, I figured let's go ahead and go over a Residual question, and that way we can make sure that we understand how to do this before the exam. So let's start by reading this right here. Joanne is concerned about the amount of energy she uses to heat her home. The scatter plot shows the relationship between x equals mean temperature in a particular month and y equals mean amount of natural gas used per day in cubic feet in that month, along with the regression line y hat equals 1425 minus 19.87x. During March, the average temperature was 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and Joanne used an average of 490 cubic feet of gas per day. Calculate and interpret the Residual for this month. Okay, so to get started, what we want to do first is probably come up with a, write down all the information that we already know. And a good mnemonic device that helps me to remember how to do that is GUA. And GUA is G-E-W-A, which is given, equation slash formula, work, and answer. Okay, GUA. So, if you get G and E all written down correctly, typically the W and the A is a lot easier and it comes very naturally. Let's do this problem as an example. So let's start with our given. Let me look here. So first of all, we are given the equation of that regression line. The regression line is y hat equals 1425 minus 19.87 x. Now, if you want to follow along, let me see. This is question number 27. Yeah, 27. This is number 27 in your review. Okay, we're given the equation of the regression line. What else are we given? Well, this is a Residual problem, so hopefully we're given 2 points. Hopefully we have an actual point, and we also have a predicted point that we are looking for. Okay, so first of all, let's look for the actual. So if we look back in this problem, we see that the average temperature was actually 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And Joanne used an average of 490 cubic feet per gas per day. Okay, this is what actually happened. So let's go back to our paper here, and we're going to put down for the X, we're going to put down 46.4. Okay, you can put degrees Fahrenheit to remind you that's the temperature. And then we're going to put 490. Okay, what is that? Cubic feet. So feet cube. Alright. So that's what actually happened. 46.4 degrees, and we did 490 cubic feet of gas. Now, the predicted is what will happen if it's 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and what would be our prediction right here? What would go right there? In other words, what is y hat? Okay. Alright, so this is all the stuff we are given in the problem so far. We haven't done any math, we just wrote down what we actually are given. Now, we're going to write down any equations or formulas that we might need. Now, I can see one right away. I know from my notes that y hat equals a plus bx, right? So what is a? A is our y-intercept. What is b? That is our slope. Okay, the slope is going to be next to the x, wherever that is. Alright? Alright, now I don't see any other equation formulas. Oh, actually, yes, I do. The formula for the residual, right? Which is y minus y hat. Okay, or in other words, actual minus predicted. Okay. Oh, let me think. Anything else? Nope. I guess not. Alright, so now we're going to show all of our work to solve this problem. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for y hat given this x value, okay? So we're going to go ahead and write the equation down, which equals 1425 minus 19.87, and we're going to multiply by that x, 46.4. Alright, so we're going to do 19.87 times 46.4, and we get 921.968. Bring everything else down. So 1425 minus that number is going to be 503.032. Okay. What did we just find? We just found the predicted y for this problem. So we found what y hat is going to be. That's great. But the problem is asking us for a residual, not just a prediction. And we know from up here in our formula, the residual is y minus y hat. So the residual here, if we were to write it out, what is y? Y without a party hat on it means that y is not a prediction, because party hat rhymes with prediction. So that's not a prediction. Well, what do we have? What y value do we have that's not a prediction? Right here, this is our y value that is not a prediction. So we're going to do 490, and we're going to subtract our prediction y, which is 503.032. 490 minus that answer is negative 13.032. And this would be the answer in terms of the residual for that question. Okay. Now here's the deal. It is a negative, okay? So if we're looking at the regression line, and the regression line is like this. We know wherever it is, okay, we know that it's going to be below the line, okay? That means the model, our prediction overshot. We overestimated whatever we were trying to predict. So, now we gotta look through these list of answers right here and see if anything matches all the stuff we've written down. So, let's take a look. Let's see here. It says, the first one says, okay, it said calculate and interpret the residual for this mass. So negative 13.032, that is correct. The actual mean amount of gas consumed in the month of March was 13.032 cubic feet. less than predicted by the regression line with x equals 46.4. Alright, well, I'm liking this first answer right here, but let's double check the other answers. Negative 13.032, the actual mean amount of gas consumed in the month of March was 13.0 cubic feet more than predicted. Well, we just talked about that this is 13 less than predicted, right? So we can cross that out. And then if we look at all the other, all the other answers, none of them have negative 13.032. So the answer must be that first, the first one right here. Okay? Alright, so now that we just walked through a whole wonderful problem, I'm going to go ahead and let's send us over to a practice problem that you can do on your own at home. If we look right here, this is a practice problem over finding the residuals. We see that you need to calculate the residual, and we also need to interpret the residual. So I would go ahead and pause the video right here and see if you can solve this yourself. Pause the video, get some paper, write it out, and let's see if we can get this answer correct. Alright, hopefully you have tried the problem. Now we're going to look at the solution. If I scroll down a little bit, this is going to reveal the solution. If we look at this right here, to calculate the residual, find the predicted y. We plug in that 19.5 and we get 25.53 candy. That's the predicted value of y. We subtract it from the actual value and we get negative 2.53. Okay? The interpretation that the book says here is this student grabbed 2.53 fewer candy than expected based on the regression line using x equals handspin. Alrighty. Well, there we have it. That was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video on social media. Let's try to get something to go viral here. Thank you very much for watching. I'm so excited to see you guys soon and to dominate this test coming up.